All right, welcome everybody to the High Elevation Podcast. It is the 2026 NFL draft season. Day one of the draft concluded last night. And if you couldn't tell by what I am wearing, I am very happy with the Charger selection. That being said, I want to take this time to go through my thoughts of the first round, give my grades maybe for each team, each pick specifically, and yeah, I just want to get right into that. It was one of the weirdest drafts that I've been a part of, at least first round. But before I do that, I want to quickly go into my mock draft that I had. So this was my mock, just to give you a little insight before I go into the grades. And obviously, a mock draft, this is not where I thought people should go. It's just where I thought they would. That being said, the more I looked into it, I do see why the Jets took David Bailey. We'll get into my grade second in a second, but if I had to make a mock draft, I probably would have taken Bailey instead of Reese. It's just I was so high on Reese. He was my number, I think, 3 player in the whole draft. So I don't know. I just wasn't very high on Bailey, and I think that turned into a bias pick. But for what the Jets needed, them trading away Johnson, Bailey made sense. But you see, I was high on Maui. I thought he was going to be the first tackle off. He was not. Um, but I have relatively right here wasn't too surprising. I was surprised the Titans took Tate, and I could see the Cardinals taking Love. I could see it. It was just so dumb. I didn't think they would. No hate on Love. I love Jeremiah Love. I just don't love him on the Cardinals. Um, but yeah, we looked through this. Ty Simpson, I did have going in the first. I had the Steelers maybe taking him. Clearly, that did not happen with the Rams. I like my Rams pick a lot better than them taking Simpson. But overall, it's on the actual board. It's minor changes. I generally had these players where they went, give or take 3 picks. Obviously, differences with Bain and Lemon. And obviously, I was very high on Jermod McCoy and Denzel Boston. Neither of them ended up going in the first round. Obviously, McCoy is going to be because of that degenerative knee. Maybe again, I don't have the insight these NFL guys do. So, considering every team passed on him, I'm going to assume they know a little more than me there, and I'm not going to hate them not taking McCoy. Boston, on the other hand, I don't really get it. Uh, I don't hate any of the receivers that were taken over him because I was also very high on Lemon, Tyson, Tate, Cooper, and the KC Concepcion. I had them all going in the first round as well. So it wasn't like I thought those were blasphemous to take over Boston. Boston falling to the second, I think a team is going to be very happy to have him in the second round. But really, other than that, we'll get into the grades. But Caden Proctor, oh my goodness. But yeah, let's hop right into the grades. But this was my mock generally. I think it was generally pretty accurate. Obviously, I didn't get a lot of the teams right, but it was close. I think I had a general good feel for the draft. But moving, then let me change this to now the. Oh, hello, big screen. Let me change this to the picks. This is what I really want to get into the actual picks that happened. We'll start off quick. Fernando Mendoza. Really, there needs to be no explanation here. He was the first round pick since the day the national championship ended. No surprise. I'm not incredibly high on Mendoza. Obviously, I think he was number one pick. He should have been the number one pick. Just in compared to quarterbacks in other years, I don't know where he compares. I see they have a comparison to Joe Burrow. I don't think he's going to be Joe Burrow, but he was obviously the best quarterback in this class. What the Raiders needed most as a quarterback, and he's a first pick caliber quarterback. I just have my doubts he is going to be at that elite level. Then we have David Bailey, the first real. Whoa, this is draft season. The fit makes the most sense. If the Jets were going for who is the best available player at the position we need the most, defensive edge, to replace Jermaine Johnson, David Bailey is your guy. I'm sure that's what their thought process and what they went with. And David Bailey's a fine player. He was probably the best pass rusher in this class. But man, I just think Arvell Reese was the pick here. He could play DN for you. He'd be a stud linebacker. Wherever you want to put him, you can plug and play him wherever, even if he does need to develop a little bit. Jets aren't looking to win next year, looking to win in 2 years, 3 years, once their quarterback, that I assume they draft in 2027, develops. I don't know. I think Arvell Reese is going to be a Hall of Famer one day, and he was right there. And so you took a need for now. She didn't really need now. I don't know. No really hate on David Bailey. I just don't think he's Arvell Reese. Then we move on to Jeremiah Love. He was my number 2 player in this class. And basically, if he went to any other team here, minus the Raiders, it would have been an A-plus home run pick. You walk away happy. What are the Cardinals doing taking Jeremiah Love? I get he was probably their number 1 player on their big board. Out of all the positions the Cardinals need, the one I'd say they were pretty comfortable at was running back. And I don't understand. I don't want to hate on this pick too much. I'll give grades for the other ones in a second. I don't want to hate on this pick too much because I love Jeremiah Love. I think he will be a stud. I think next year he'll have a very similar situation as Genty did with the Raiders, where clearly the player's a stud. It's just not the right situation yet. It's going to be the same thing for Love. He's a stud, but he's not going to do very well. And not by no fault of him. Running backs require good O-lines. Running backs require competent offense game plan where they can't just focus on the running back. And, Cardinals aren't competent. I don't know what else to say here. At least not right now. I don't want to hate. That's a little harsh, but they had a lot more holes than running back. And running back just wasn't a hole. I got to give this pick I can't give it a D or worse because Jeremiah Love is just too good for that. But I can't give it any higher than a C+, so I'm going to go right at a C, C-. It was just a dumb pick, and no hate on the player. David Bailey, I'm also giving this pick a C+. Obviously, I think he's the best pass rusher in the class. But, man, you had Arvell Reese. You had him right there, and you let him slip through. Oh, well. C+ there. Mendoza, I'm giving it an A. If maybe he was a Joe Burrow talent, I give it an A+, but Raiders did what they needed to do. Titans go to Carnell Tate. This pick surprised me a lot. I thought, obviously on my mock draft, I had Tate as the number 1 receiver off the board. He was not my number 1 receiver, however. That did belong to Jordan Tyson. And I also had Mekhi Lemon over Tate. That being said, I like Tate. I don't like him at 4. It's just, what does the pre-draft analysis here say? Actually, what's the post-draft? This was a surprise, but also quite an exciting pick in Tennessee. Calvin Ridley is under contract for only 1 more year, and signing Wan'Dale Robinson is more of a secondary slot option than an every down target. Tate gives second-year quarterback Cam Ward an emergent wide receiver 1 with X-receiver size, speed, and hands. The Titans have wisely opted to load their offense with young playmakers for Ward, drafting Tate even after selecting 2 fourth-round receivers, Io Manor and how do I say that last name? Oh boy, a year ago. It's just all right. Now my actual thing. I see the 1 more year stuff. I like Tyson more. But maybe the injury concerns scare you away. And Lemon, I know he maybe can play outside, but you're looking for a slot. So Tate is best of both worlds, where he's not injury prone, or at least as injury prone as Tyson, obviously, and he's more flexible than Lemon. Arvell Reese was there. I have them taking Jeremiah Love, so maybe that kind of messed up their little draft board. But man, I can't hate it too much. I give it a B. But man, I like Jordan Tyson a lot. He was right there. But they know more about the injuries than me. Didn't scare off the Saints, though. Get there in a second. I just like Tyson, man. He's clearly the best receiver, but I guess the injury stuff scared the Titans away. And I don't think Tate is top 5. And I really only had him going to the Browns because the Ohio fit made sense, Columbus to Cleveland. I don't like it. I just don't like it. I want to like it, but I just don't. but he will be an amazing weapon for Ward. I'm excited to see that connection. Giants, A plus 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 plus. This pick they couldn't have dreamed of a better situation. I know that front line is a little muddy now. You got Burns, Thibodeau, Carter. Now you got Reese added into the mix. It's a little messy. But when you have a Hall of Fame talent, right? That's the pro comp to Abdul Carter. Dang, I didn't realize that was the comp. When you have all that talent right there, you don't pass it up. And also, I think Arvell Reese, as the position here says, a linebacker, is a true linebacker. And I don't think what a problem I maybe would have had with the Jets taking him is they would have forced him into being a D end and a D end only. And I don't think that's where he's going to thrive. I think he will thrive as a true linebacker who kind of hybrids into that edge position, kind of like a Micah Parsons, if you will. I think that's where he's going to thrive. And I think that is the perfect opportunity he has now with the Giants, with that front four, especially the D edge, loaded with pretty good people, maybe minus Thibodeau. And I'm worried that the Giants this pick goes from an A plus 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 to an A minus if they trade Thibodeau and force him to be a D end only. But before that happens, it's an A plus 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 plus. Hopefully they don't do that because, man, you got a Hall of Fame linebacker right here. Don't mess it up. Don't mess it up. Chiefs, Mansour Delane. They traded up for him. What did they give away? A third and a fifth, I believe. I like Delane. He's my top corner. I don't know how to feel about it. If the Chiefs just would have taken him at 9, this is an A, maybe not A plus, an A pick. Trading up 3 slots to get him, especially when Caleb Downs was on the board. I'm not going to get Caleb Downs yet. Chiefs needed a corner. They got rid of McDuffie. Needed a corner. They selected the right player. They really did. I just don't love trading up for him. But I mean, I had the Commanders taking him at 7, so if they were that high on him, it was smart. I'll give it a B. It could easily be an A, but I'll give it a B plus for now. Really like Delane. He's my top corner. Chiefs desperately needed a corner. There's not too much to hate about it. Next we got Sonny Styles, Washington, A plus 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 plus. Well, all right. Real rankings. Arvell Reese gets an A plus for the Giants. Commanders get an A plus here for Sonny Styles. The dude's a freak of nature. He has the most upside in this class. Even more, I think, than Downs and Reese. And Love. Obviously, he needs some refining, if you will. But man, you can't teach what he provides. You can't teach that athleticism. I mean, going from old man Bobby Wagner to Sonny Styles is going to be a culture shock for Commanders fans, and I'm happy for you. NFC East really killed this draft. It's an A+. Going into a 3 out of 4 A+ picks here. Jordan Tyson for the New Orleans Saints. What a pick. What a pick. I'm happy. I mean, I guess if he is really injured, then I'm not happy they weren't scared of his injuries. But as a Jordan Tyson fan, I am so happy they didn't shy away from his injuries. This dude, just watch the last drive. Yeah, that last drive of Arizona State against Texas Tech, that top defense led by David Bailey, Jacob Rodriguez, Lee Hunter. Just watch it. He single-handedly wins that game for Arizona State, or leads them to a touchdown against one of the top defenses in college football last year. There's not much more to say. He's the best wide receiver. If healthy, he's an all-time wide receiver. I just pray he can stay healthy. If he stays healthy, it's an A+ pick. Maybe I drop it to an A because of those injury concerns, but I'm not going to. I'm high on Tyson. I believe in him. A+ for the New Orleans Saints there. Browns trade back and take Spencer Fano. I saw people really hating on this pick, and I don't understand why. Fano's the most versatile O-lineman in this class. Whether you want to play tackle, guard, he'll do it for you. He was not my he was my number 1 O-lineman, O-tackle, I should say. I don't know what Brown fans are mad at. I think it's a great pick. I'd give it an A. I mean, since they traded down, maybe it's a little bit of a reach. Maybe. I'll give it an A. Especially because they traded down for him. It's close to an A+. But I'll give it an A just because he played right tackle in college. And obviously left tackle is a little more valuable, and the first tackle off the board being a right tackle maybe is a little suspect. I don't know what they're mad about. You got Spencer Fano. You're protecting, I guess I was gonna say your quarterback, but I don't know who the heck that's gonna be. Shitter Sanders for now, but we'll see what they do there. Man, I mean I think it's a good pick. I don't understand why they're mad. A for me for the Browns there, especially because you traded back and got him. Giants take Maui Goa. This is another case. No, it's not another case for the Cardinals because Jeremiah Love on the Cardinals makes no sense. Maui Goa on the Giants makes perfect sense. The problem is, look who was selected right after. How you pass up on Caleb Downs. I also hear Spencer Fano's measurables, in case anyone was wondering. I don't know how you pass up on Downs here. They somehow did, but you can't be that mad at wanting to protect your quarterback, especially young quarterback in Jackson Dart just coming off an injury. But the number one player in the class was right there, and now your rivals got him. It's as simple as that. It's a B. Maui, if Downs was taken already and this just played out like this, it's an A. With Downs on the board, you have to give it a B. Mauioga is a good pick in a vacuum. Not in a vacuum, you have to take Downs. There's no other way around it. Because look who got the best player in the class, your rivals. Congratulations. This guy is going to terrorize NFC offenses for years to come. He was my number one player in the class. He's the best safety I've seen since Kyle Hamilton in a pre-draft combine. I may have even ranked him higher than Kyle Hamilton. He's a stud. Blue chip prospect. Obviously, anything can happen, but Cowboys get A+. A+. You know who doesn't get an A+? The Miami Dolphins. What? Okay, first of all, Caleb Downs falls into your lap and you don't take him. All right, you trade back, fine. What did you even get for it? What was the trade details? All right, it doesn't say here, but you don't get much for it. But you trade back, fine. You didn't want Caleb Downs. He wasn't in your scheme. Okay, whatever. Caden Proctor over Ruben Bain, and not only Caden Proctor over. Oh gosh, I'm gonna butcher this name, but Ione. Caden Proctor. If you're going to go O-line here, I know he's a guard. You got to take Ione. No ifs, ands, buts about it. But you trade down and you don't take Downs for Proctor. Or Ruben Bain, the Miami kid. Or Miami College. Right there. We'll get to him in a second. It's a D. We'll see how Proctor does. Obviously, big boy here. 6'6". 352 pounds. I mean, dude is a wall. Amazing in the run game. And I guess with Malik Willis at quarterback, maybe that's more run heavy. Obviously with Devon A-Chain there. Stud. It's just the wrong pick. I don't know what to say. I don't love Proctor. It's just bad. It's just bad. Alabama O linemen have not worked out recently. I don't see why Proctor would be any different. Maybe that's bias. It gets a D. Into the first F. Ty Simpson. Oh gosh, I don't know if I want to go on record saying this, but Ty Simpson's just not going to be a good quarterback. He's a third-round talent at best. I don't know what the Rams were thinking. I don't know if you even saw McVay in the post-game interview. Even he looked pissed. man, what were they doing? Makai Lemon was right there. He was, or any receiver, Makai Lemon, Concepcion, Boston, Cooper, right there. Rams need to, even if I loved Simpson, even if I thought he was a stud, you know what? Let's just say Simpson was a stud. You were so close to not only making it, but you would have won that Super Bowl if you beat the Seahawks last year. You would have won it in a cakewalk. You are just one or two pieces away from being Super Bowl champs again. And you use your 13th overall pick to take Ty Simpson? Someone who won't start next year easily and maybe not for a couple. And then someone who just isn't a first round grade. At least when the Packers took Jordan Love, he was a first round talent. And it's kind of worked out. I don't even know if it's worked out because obviously Jordan Love is good right now. But the Packers were very similar. They were almost over the hump. And they took Love instead of supporting Rodgers at all. What if they support Rodgers? Are we looking at Rodgers completely differently as a multi-time Super Bowl champ? Now we're going to be wondering the same thing with Stafford. I hope the Rams are somehow able to, I have maybe some LA bias here, even though I'm a Charger fan. I hope Stafford's able to get over the hump anyway. I think with the team they have now, they maybe can still get over the Seahawks. Obviously, the Seahawks are going to, teams regress, teams get better. 49ers are getting healthy, and that's scary. Eagles got better because they took the player you shoulda. I need water, man. It's just bad. Oh my God, the comparison is Mac Jones. It's bad for him. He was my number 2 QB, so at least that's good. It's bad. It's bad. You need to take anyone but him. Anyone. Kenyon Sadiq. Moving on. F. A plus. No, I don't. Vega Ione. It's who I was praying fell to the Chargers. Didn't, for good reason. He was my number 1 O lineman in this class. Obviously, positional value. I think maybe Alioga and Fano were above him for if you're valuing, positional value force. But pure O lineman, I think this guy was without a doubt the best. Ravens needed O-line help. It was their number 1 need, and they took the number 1 O-lineman. Not too much more to say there. He's going to be a stud. Multi-time Pro Bowler as long as he stays healthy. Do I give another? Am I just handing A-pluses out too easily? A+. Ruben Bain don't forget, Ruben Bain for a long time before all of a sudden, out of nowhere, for a good reason probably, people start really caring about his short arms. This guy was considered the best defender in football last year, college football. For a long time, he's made the number 2 pick in the draft on a lot of people's draft boards. Buccaneers get him at 15. I understand not taking him early because of that. Long arms is very important for D linemen. I get it. And we saw on the other end how it affected Will Campbell last year. Although I think he had a little more problems than just his short arms. Another blue chip talent. He's going to be a stud. Yes, the arms will hold him back, but he's the best technically sound defensive player besides maybe Downs. Best rusher. And you keep him in Florida. Good pick all around by the Buccaneers. I'm giving it an A+, sue me. The Jets. I've seen other people have this take, and I agree with it. I was a lot lower on this pick until they got Omar Cooper Jr., but now that they took him, I'm going to give it an A-. I was at because Lemon was on the board though, and I think Lemon's better than Cooper. I'll give it a B+. I'm going to give this Kenyon Sadiq a B+. You can transform the wide receiver, but now that you took Cooper and you already have Garrett Wilson, I don't really see them doing that. I think he's just going to be a big tight end who doesn't know how to block, but has the best hands out of anyone in at the tight end position in the NFL. I had a lot more to say about this pick before the Cooper. I was very upset with it. Very deeply upset, and I'm sure the Jets care about that. No. But I was hearing Dan Orlovsky saying this earlier on the pre-draft for day 2, which is still about 2 hours away. The Jets are now a favorable position for a quarterback to want to come play for them. They now have 3 amazing weapons. The only complaint is that it's not Makai Lemon. But if you take Makai Lemon here, then you'll get Cooper later. Maybe it is an A-. No, I'm giving it an A-. Sadiq's a stud. He's a tight end who can't block, which brings its own set of concerns. But when you have hands like that, who cares? Who cares? One of the best catching tight ends I've ever seen, just not very well-rounded, at least in the blocking department, which is very important for a tight end. And Frank Reich, now in New York, obviously loves his tight ends. We saw what he did with Zach Ertz in Philly. Since they got Cooper, I can't complain. Lions get Blake Miller. It's going to be a very quick one. It's an A-. I would have preferred Monroe Freeling. Blake Miller's an amazing get. He's a stud. Lions needed O-line. They got an O-line to pair with Sewell. Blake Miller's the man. A-. I just would have preferred Freeling. Am I harsh to say an F here? F. Vikings get an F. What are you doing? I mean, besides the headache this guy is, Dylan Thieneman, my apologies on the names, was right there. You needed a safety. The second best safety in the class was right there. You didn't need to trade up for him, and you whiff. Swing and a miss. Man. You got the injury concerns. And if you wanted to go D-tackle, Caden McDonald and Peter Woods were right there, man. I'm just not a big Caleb Banks fan, and I'm especially not a big Caleb Banks fan to the Vikings. They had the most probably shoe-in pick of the whole draft, and they missed it. Because I like Caleb Banks a little, I'll give it a D-. And I trust that, I guess besides the J.J. McCarthy pick, that Vikings, especially in the defensive side, has been some of the most competent coaching GMs in the league, managing in the league. I'll give it a D- because I trust the Vikings a little bit. Panthers get Monroe Freeling. I think they were really hoping Kenyon Sadiq fell. I also really like Casey Concepcion going here. But Freeling is arguably the best O-tackle in this class. I don't think he is, but he's arguably. I gotta give it an A. I don't really have. I saw a couple people have issues in the pass game for him and in the run game. I know his game is not perfect and he needs to refine his stuff a bit. I just don't have much issue with this pick. I think it's a very safe pick by the Panthers. Georgia, very local. Safe pick. A. A+. How? I know they traded up. I think 4 spots. 1, what are the Cowboys doing? Trading to the Eagles. I don't get it. 2, how does Makai Lemon fall to him? Get rid of A.J. Brown? No problem. Here's Makai Lemon. Number 1 on ESPN's big board. My number 2. I love Makai Lemon. Maybe a little bit of a bias towards LA guys. He's a stud. Absolute stud. I just know the Eagles are going to use him properly as well. It hurts, man. It hurts. A+. Can't believe he fell to 20. Can't believe the Rams, Panthers, Jets all passed on him. There's not much more to say. It's an A+. Eagles do it again. Because of course they do. I'm just surprised it's not someone from Georgia this time. Steelers go very safe and get Max. Oh man. Y'all gotta get some easier to pronounce last names for me. I'm not good at this. The O-tackle out of Arizona State. It's the safe pick. I think they're very sad to see both Freeling and Blake Miller go off the board. I mean, I give it a B. It's safe. I don't think Max is anything special at the O-line. Steelers needed O-line help. I know Emmanuel McNeil Warren was possibly there. Kind of glad they didn't take him. I'm not too high on him. I just don't know. It's just so boring. And it's not boring in the sense of Blake Miller. It's maybe because McNeil Warren was there, it's a little iffy. And whereas these two picks got A's, A minuses, why does this one get a B? Because he's just simply not as good as the other two. I think there's a significant skill gap. Also, I like Lomu a lot more than Ihiniker. Ihiniker? I don't know, man. I forget. It's tough. It's tough. B. Another B. Chargers get Akeem Mesidor. As a Charger fan, I wanted us to trade down. Once Ione was off the board, and it was clear McCoy's degenerative knee is not something to be touched, similar to Will Johnson's injuries last year. Man. Mesidor, here's what I like. Here's what I really do like. He's already 25 years old. He's going to be a stud right away. Let's look at real quick. Just don't take my word. Pre-draft analysis. Mesidor plays with violent hands, making it difficult for pass blockers to land cleanly, while he uses upper body strength to knock them off balance. He excels as a pass rusher off the edge, but also has the ability to be effective when working inside. He has good fluidity and multiple pass rush moves in his repertoire. Against the run, Mesidor is an outstanding defender who generates explosive power at the point of attack to knock blockers back. He does a good job of striking, disengaging, and locating the ball. Post-draft, the Chargers lost pass rusher, or edge rusher, Odafe Oweh in free agency and needed to add a speed element to their room besides Tuli Tuipulatu and Khalil Mack. Enter 25-year-old Mesidor, who is one of the oldest first-round picks of the past 20 years, but has pro-ready first-step pass rush in his arsenal. It took Mesidor a long time to start producing, as his sixth and final college season was the only one with double-digit sacks, but if Miami defensive coach Jason Taylor is the one who turned on the light bulb, it is reasonable to expect the light bulb to stay on in the NFL. Mesidor should immediately slide into Oweh's role as the third rusher and third down ringer. So what I like, he's available right away. Amazing pass rusher and doesn't seem to have any flaws. What I don't like, it took him until his 6th year to be ready. Don't love that. 25 years old being old. I actually don't hate that as much as most, but it's a concern for sure. But what I hate the most is that he wasn't the one getting chipped most of the time. He wasn't the one dealing with most of the doubles. That was Ruben Bain on the other end. Granted, now it's probably going to be Khalil Mack on the other end, and he's going to be in a very similar situation where he did succeed. But man, it's worrisome. That's why he's not an A. And he's obviously not an A because he doesn't play offensive guard. But with no good offensive guards on the board right here, I agree with the Chargers going D-line. I like the slot. It's just I don't think there's anyone worth taking here. Really wish we traded down, and I think we could have got very similar value while having more late-round picks. That being said, we'll see. We'll see. And we'll see quick. He's not a project. He's going to be ready now. Chargers needed help now. And that's what we got with the Chiefs being unstable. I'm not too sold on the Broncos, and the Raiders not ready yet. Hopefully. Needed to win now. We got a player to help us win now. But there are some question marks. Cowboys get Combine darling Malachi Lawrence. Measurables darling Malachi Lawrence. I, on the other hand, am nowhere near as sold. I gotta give this a C. They traded back for him, which is good. I'm glad they didn't take him with 20. But you trade back with Philly and let them get Lemon only to take Malachi Lawrence? Ah, man. I just don't know how to feel about him. I think his combine and his measurables are better than what he does on the field. I don't know how to put that any other way. We'll see. We'll see. I just think it's going to be a bust, you know? This is one where it's like, how isn't this guy good? He's got all the tools. He just doesn't perform. I don't know what to say. Browns take KC Concepcion. I saw a lot of people ragging on this pick. A lot of people ragged on the two Browns picks. I think this is another A. I love Concepcion. He has a drop issue, which I guess is important when you're a wide receiver. Besides that, he does everything amazing. He's a stud. Probably the best route runner in this class. And I think a lot of the lack of production came from bad quarterback play. Just look at his tape. There are so many times he's wide open, he doesn't get the ball, even when A&M's pressure is not even that bad. Needs to work on the drops, but guess who else had a drop problem? Ja'Marr Chase. All right, I'm not comparing him to Ja'Marr Chase, but I think the Browns are going to love him. If they can find a good quarterback to throw him the ball, funny, he's kind of in the same situation. Stud player without a good quarterback to give him the ball. Now they have Pro Bowler Shedeur Sanders. I don't mind Sanders, actually. I think he's okay. Shouldn't be a starter. But, how is he a Pro Bowler, man? Sorry, I'm getting off the rails. Casey Concepcion's great. Get him a good quarterback. I think he's going to be even greater. A for Concepcion. A+ for Dylan Tiananmen. The Bears get rid of Kevin Byard. And look who falls into their lap. I don't know what else to say. He's the second best safety. It was almost as easy a pick as the Vikings, except the Bears didn't swing and miss. A+, you nailed it. Good job. The Texans. At least they drafted an O lineman, right? So I can't give it an F. You pass up on Pregnon and the guy at Texas A&M, Bisontis, to trade up for Rutledge, who probably would have been available on day 3? Not day 3. Round 3? It's a D. I see people love this pick because they're like, oh, look, Texans need O-line and they took O-line. That's great. Wrong. You traded up for a guy who's going to be available anyway. And not only that, nowhere near the best available at that position. I don't know the thought process here. I get the thought process of wanting offensive guard. Nothing else about it makes sense to me. D. What are they doing? Is it too strong to say C here? Dolphins losers of this draft? I like Chris Johnson. I don't like him more than Avion Terrell, who's still on the board. What? Over Terrell? Not only Terrell, you trade back up into this pick? Again, I want to be easy on McCoy. Teams passing on McCoy. Clearly that knee is a problem. But oh my God. What? I have to be missing something. And some people are like, oh, Chris Johnson was my sleeper pick. Well, guess who wasn't a sleeper who was still amazing? Avion Terrell. Who somehow doesn't go in the first round. And you... Whatever. C. Fine position to get for the Dolphins. Although I am concerned that they don't go receiver here. Especially with someone available who later someone in your division gets who you're now have to go against 2 times a year. Omar Cooper was right there. Denzel Boston was right there. And if you wanted to go corner, Avion Terrell was right there. I get taking him over Colton. How am I forgetting his name? Hood. Taking over Colton Hood. Obviously over McCoy if you're concerned about that knee. C. It's as generous as I can be. I do like Chris Johnson, though. People hated this pick. I don't understand why. It gets an A from me. And pretty easily an A at that. Caleb Lomu, I think, is one of the most underrated tackles in this class. Took Will Campbell last year. Now you're solidifying the other end. Clearly, O-line was a huge issue for them last year. Why are people upset with this? It gets an A. I'm close to an A+. I'm not going to. But Caleb Lomu, stud. Patriots got a good one. And I think filled their biggest need, besides maybe receiver, which they're apparently getting A.J. Brown anyway. Good luck. He'll be a stud, but those off-the-field issues, oh boy. I want to say the Chiefs get another A here. You filled your biggest need with Mansour Delane, with corner. Yeah, I don't really see where they go wrong here. It's an A from me. Peter Woods is a stud. I like Caden McDonald a little more, but if you like Peter Woods over McDonald, I can't hate you on that. It's a fantastic pick. The Chiefs always have these good late-round picks, besides Clyde Edwards-Helaire, but we don't need to talk about that. Actually, as a Charger fan, we do need to talk about what a bum. I'm kidding. He won a Super Bowl with them. Did he? I think he was there on that team. 2019, right? No, he was 2020. He didn't win a Super Bowl. Or if he did, he was a backup later on. Whatever. A+. Hold on. A. Giving it an A. You got two of the same position, basically. Because Kenyon Steek is more of a receiver than a tight end anyway. So you basically double up on receiver. But because it's Omar Cooper Jr., it's right on that point. Put it this way. I'll give it an A+, but it's the worst A+ out of all the A+ I've given out. Just because you doubled up. But man, you need a receiver. You got Sadiq. And Cooper's amazing. Not much more to say. Just the fact that they doubled up worries me a little bit. And the fact that you could have had Lemon, who's better than Cooper. I give it an A. My best A. Him and Lomu are very high A's for me. I'll give it an A. Keldrick Falk. I was not high on Falk, but that was because I saw a lot of people taking him like near the 20s, like upper 20s, like 20 to 22 range. So I didn't love him, but down here at 31, I like him a whole lot more. I mean, he's extremely, extremely talented. One of the best pass rushers, I believe, in this class, if I remember correctly. He's going to fit great with Robert Saleh. It's a B+, just because I don't think he's the most well-rounded D end. But if anyone can help him with that, it is Robert Saleh. Dable got his guy at 4. Saleh gets his guy at 31. B+. Just not the biggest Falk fan. And with the last pick, the Seahawks take Jadarian Price. It's literally any other team. This is an F. But the Seahawks basically had one need, and it was running back to pair with Charbonnet. I'll give it a C+. Not a big fan of Jadarian Price. I was higher on Jonah Coleman out of Washington in your backyard, but instead you go Price. That's what I don't love about it. I just don't think Price is a first-round talent either. Spending your first-round pick on the number 2 running back on his own teams, it's a little scary. But he probably is the second most talented running back. Look, they need a running back. They took running back. I just think, 1, they took the wrong one. And 2, I don't think either were first-round graded. They should have probably traded back. But, I mean, they're Super Bowl champs. You had one hole. You filled the hole. I don't got much more to say. It's a fine pick. Maybe it's a B. I'm giving it a C+. It's a fine pick. That's my grades. I'm not going to do team grades yet. I'll wait for team grades once the full draft is over. And maybe some of those first round grades are going to change once I see what teams do in the second round. So we'll see. The big example is the Chargers taking Ladd McConkey after taking Joe Alt in 2024, I believe. But we look ahead at the second round today. I mean, obviously, my number one player is Jermod McCoy, but with that knee, I guess we just don't know. So, with not including McCoy, it's got to be Denzel Boston. I don't know why teams are low on him. He's great. He's great. Big body. Oh, here it says big body here, but big bodied receiver. He's everything you could want. He's a big body receiver who creates separation. I don't know. I don't know what's wrong with him. I don't get it. Man, he's good. Avion Terrell, McNeil Warren, these are all near first round talents. McDonald. I'm big on Cassius Howell, like him more than Zion Young, but these are two guys who go early on. Every guy in the top 8 here, besides maybe McCoy, we don't know with his injuries, will go very early on. I'm a big fan of Zachariah Branch. Big fan of Jacob Rodriguez. Just looking through here. I like R. Mason Thomas. There's some guys here in the second round, but who I think teams will be very happy to get. But the two most stacked positions, in my opinion, going into day 2, are wide receiver and corner. Where is that? Over here. I think those two positions are the two most stacked going into day 2, and I think you're going to see a lot of these guys maybe fall, where we're going to be looking in 2 years and be like, how the heck did no one take D'Angelo Pons in the first round? Love Pons. And also D-Edge, I'd say, is pretty stacked as well. And I guess the last position, I'll look at videos for 47 minutes now. Last thing I'll check here is the quarterback. No quarterbacks I love. I'm maybe higher on Carson Beck than most, but I'm not super loving him. Curious to see, just for entertainment's sake, where Pavia goes. I doubt he goes today, though. Curious to see what quarterbacks go day 2. Nussmeier, obviously. Aller, Green, Klubnik. We'll see. So it's always interesting, but I don't think any of these guys are going to be needle movers. Maybe good backups at best, especially Drew Aller. Well, Drew Aller, I don't think has starter upside. I think he's like the best backup quarterback you could ask for. I don't know why. He has that feeling. He has that vibe. But yeah, it was a long video. Thank you guys for watching. Hope to get this out and downloaded before day 2 starts. But we'll see. I'll come out with a video after day 2 as well. But let me know if you guys agree, disagree. If you made it to the end, I really appreciate you. And yeah, thank you for watching. Peace.